Hi, I'm Andrew and I'm going to be doing a quick 5-minute talk on 5 species of common ants in the Perth Hills, plus some feral ones at the end. So I'm going to be talking about 5 bull ants, sugar ants, green-headed ants, rainbow ants and meat ants, and plus the feral ones. So before I start, there are different adaptations that you have to need to know about for the first ant. So polygynous means that the colony will accept multiple queens in a single colony. Whereas most colonies, the queens would kill each other, so this makes colony development faster and stronger. Also, they can be polymorphic, meaning there are different sizes of workers. There are minors and majors. The majors are used to cut up food and they have very large heads, as you will see with the first ant. So first on the list are big-headed ants, or Phaidoli. They are polygynous.
Keep talking, mate.
And polymorphic. So there's a major there with the large head, which is disproportional to the rest of the body, and some minors tender into the larvae, the second stage of life for an ant. They are fairly common, but also very small. The minors are only reaching a few millimeters long, and so this is a typical ant. Well, the minors are. Nothing really amazing about the minors. So they are polygynous, which means they will have multiple queens. Some people, but they aren't highly polygynous. They won't have hundreds of queens, which can happen in some ants. But they will have 3 queens, which is still very large and a lot for an ant. Also, a gamete means that if a queen dies in a colony, a worker can mate with a male and take the role of a queen, but also ant colonies can start new colonies like this, so the worker will just be foraging and then she can find a male and then she'll just start a new colony, just like taking the role of the queen, making it so just a different part, just like a different type of life cycle. Also, semiclaustral means when the queen is raising her first young or breed, she has to feed herself and her breed, which I'll go on later in the life cycle section. So second on the list are green-headed ants, or Rhytidopinera metallica. They sting, so it's not the worst of sting, but it's still unpleasant. They are also polymorphic, polygynous, so they will accept multiple queens in a colony. Yet again, not amazingly polygynous. And also they are gametes, so the workers can mate with the male to start new colonies or to save the colony from doom. So they have a nice iridescent glow to them, which makes them easier to spot when you're walking around looking for ants. They are medium-sized and they have an oddly shaped abdomen. If you look at other ants, these ants are kind of in the abdomen is kind of in 2 sections, which is quite odd. So they will sting you. They're not that aggressive, but if you pick them up, they don't like being picked up, so they will sting you, and they will hurt for about only a few minutes. And you can get chemicals and rubs to get rid of the pain. Next on the list are meat ants, or Iridomyrmex purpuris. They are polygynous, containing up to 3, 4, 5 queens in a colony. They also have an iridescent glow on their abdomen, and the rest of their body is purple. They're often found in arid regions of Australia. Farmers often use them getting the corpses of their cows or sheep and then putting them on top of their colonies with the nest entrances and the nest area, which is covered in gravel. It's pretty easy to see. And the ants will strip the cow to bone in a matter of days, which is where they get the name meat ant. So these are medium-sized. The bites are not that bad, but they're still unpleasant. They're very aggressive. If you go near their nest, they will try to rip you to shreds, and they will swarm you. They can contain millions in their nest, and they will just go over your feet and keep on biting until you have to get them, and you have to pick them all off. Next are sugar ants, or Camponotus. They are polymorphic, containing majors and minors. I don't have a picture of a major. That's not a major, that's a queen, because that's a great representation of a queen. Large, nice gaster, good, and a really big thorax. And also she still has her wings, but she will bite those wings off once she's mated. but there'll still be wing scars, which is one of the ways you can determine if a queen is a queen or not. Also, we have some minors here. These are both Camponotus nigriceps, the largest ant in Perth. And so the majors are pretty big. They're almost the size of a bull ant, and they can draw blood when they bite you. I found that out the hard way. They're not as amazing as the big-headed ants, but they still are easy to see the difference. Also, next on the list are rainbow ants, or Iridomyrmex biconelli. They are related to the meat ants, so both Iridomyrmex, and they are both polygynous. And basically, rainbow ants are just mini meat ants, but they make bigger colonies. And this is just a smidge of the larval chamber, where they're all caring for the larvae. So that is like a small amount. So that is one chamber. That just gives you a clue on how many ant individuals there are. These are normally ants you see walking up your walls and stealing your food. Actually, talking about multiple species when I say rainbow ants, there are also black house ants and all of the other ones that kind of very similar, but they're very hard to tell the difference. So I'm just kind of grouping them all as rainbow ants because you really need a microscope to tell the difference. Last native is the bull ant, or Myrmecia, most commonly Myrmecia vindex. They are also known as black-headed sugar ants or western giant bull ants. They are gamergates. Queen dies, the worker can mate with a male and just take the place, and they sting. Most people know that because it's really painful. A lot of people actually think it's the bite that hurts because, I mean, they look at those large mandibles, they're toothed. That looks pretty painful, but they're actually barely painful at all. You can barely feel them. So yeah, it's actually that large stinger in the abdomen that really hurts, and they're venomous, and you often see it swelling up and hurt for a long time. You don't want it. So they're like an Aussie icon for ants, and which is for them the Aussie icon for a reason. They really hurt when they sting you. So the life cycle of an ant. During one time of the year, depending on different times for different species, there will be a big nuptial flight where the virgin queens and males will fly up, because remember from that picture before of the Camponotus, they have wings. They'll fly up, and then the males will mate with the queens, and then the males die because they're not needed anymore. And the queens will lay little chambers underneath rocks or logs, which is where they'll lay their eggs, and the larvae will hatch, and then they can raise up their brood with no food at all. They do need food, but they use the ring muscles, which they don't need anymore, to feed themselves and their larvae until they turn into their first workers called nematodes. But there are also semiclustral ants, which I was talking about before, which actually do need to feed themselves and their brood. Also, bull ants are also semiclustral, and semiclustral ants often look very similar to workers. It can be very hard to determine if it's a queen or a worker with semiclustral ants. So just quickly, some feral ants. Pharaoh ants, Argentine ants, and coastal brown ants, all feral. Coastal brown ants are actually also called big-headed ants. They're not a native species because they are phaedoli, but they're from South America. Actually, all of these are from South America. They are very bad for the ecosystem. They eat native animals. They're very good at displacing native ants. They take away their food, they'll raid young colonies and kill the queen, workers, brood and all. And really, it's very hard to get rid of since they're so small. They're not like most large animals where you can just hunt them from a helicopter with like a rifle. You really need they're pretty hard to find, but they do make a big impact on the native ecosystem. Just quickly, black crazy ants, they aren't found in the Perth Hills, but they clone themselves. When the queen starts a new colony, she can lay normal eggs, turn into workers. She stores the male's DNA and lays an egg, which is a clone to the male, and then she can clone herself. And because they're not related, DNA or genetically, they can mate again and they can produce workers and then clone themselves and the male. So it can really, they can last very long times, like a very long lifespan of the colony, and they're a pest in like tropical regions. So it's good luck killing one of these colonies. I took the photos that I got from Oz Ants, Gamagate and Ant Keeping Depot. They're great websites if you really want to know more about ants or you're getting into the ant keeping hobby, which is really good. I recommend it. These are great websites. You should definitely check them out. So that's where I got the photos from. And thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the